925 Adam, Halldale Rosecrans.
The warrant order.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of my new series, Crafts and Crimes. Every week I'll post a new video of myself crafting while talking about a different true crime. This week I'll be talking about England's youngest serial killer, 11-year-old Mary Bell. Mary Flora Bell was born in Corbridge, Northumberland on May 26, 1957. Her mother, 17-year-old Elizabeth Betty McCricket, was a well-known local sex worker. Betty is quoted by hospital staff as saying, "Get that thing away from me," when they tried to hand her baby Mary. Mary was Betty's second child, and her father is unknown, although she grew up believing that her father was William Billy Bell. He was a violent alcoholic and habitual criminal. As a baby, toddler, and young child, Mary was frequently abused and neglected. Several family members offered to take Mary to help Betty, but she refused each time. Mary instead suffered frequent, quote, accidents while alone with Betty. Betty dropped Mary out of a first-story window, overdosed her on sleeping pills, and even sold Mary to a mentally unstable woman on one occasion. This last incident caused Mary's older sister to have to travel alone across Newcastle to retrieve the baby and return her to their mother. Mary alleged that at 4 years old, Betty began selling Mary to her clients. It is unknown for sure, but it is believed that Betty may have been suffering with the mental disorder Munchausen by proxy. Both at home and at school, Mary exhibited numerous signs of disturbed and unpredictable behavior. This made the other children reluctant to socialize with Mary. Mary's classmates at the De Laval Road Primary School bore the brunt of her unpredictable and violent behavior. She attempted to strangle younger children and put out a cigarette on one girl's cheek. On another occasion, she tried to strangle a different little girl and suffocate her by stuffing sand down her throat. All while the girl was held down by her friend Norma Bell, no relation. The girl managed to escape, and the incident was reported to the police. Unfortunately, no charges were ever filed. 2 weeks before committing her first murder, Mary and Norma were accused of pushing a 3-year-old boy off the roof of a disused air raid shelter. When confronted about the accusations, both girls claimed they had only found the boy after he fell. Although, at this time Norma told the police about Mary, quote, throttling 3 young girls whose mothers came forward after this accusation. Neither girl received any punishment for this incident, just a warning from police. On May 25, 1968, one day before her 11th birthday, Mary Bell took the life of her first victim, 3-year-old Martin Brown. At this time it wasn't unusual for children to play together in an abandoned house. On this day, no one would have thought anything of seeing Mary and Martin walking towards the abandoned house in Scotswood. Once inside, Mary strangled the young Martin to death. She then went to go find her friend, 13-year-old Norma Bell, to show her what she had done. By the time the 2 girls returned, Martin's body had been discovered by 3 other boys. The girls tried to return to the room where Martin's body was in the house, but they were shooed away by the police. The police were baffled by the crime. Aside from some specks of blood and foam around Martin's mouth, there were no visible signs of violence to the body. They found an empty bottle of painkillers next to Martin's body, and assumed he had overdosed. The death was ruled accidental. The day after the murder, Mary and Norma broke into a local nursery to vandalize it and leave notes confessing to the crime. Unfortunately, everyone, including the police, believed this was just a cruel prank by local children. On May 29th, in a game of chicken, Mary knocked on the door of Martin Brown's mother and asked to see him. His mother gently explained about him passing away. Mary is said to have responded, "Oh, I know he's dead. I want to see him in his coffin." This response caused Martin's mother to slam the door in Mary's face. Over the next several weeks, Mary Bell bragged about how she had strangled Martin, but none of the other children believed her. She had a reputation for making up stories. On July 31, 1968, Mary and Norma were playing with 4-year-old Brian Howe and one of his siblings outside their house. The two girls lured Brian away, where they strangled him and mutilated his body. When Brian didn't return home in the afternoon, the concerned family began searching for the boy. At one point, while out searching, Mary even pointed out the concrete blocks his body was hidden behind to Brian's sister, but Norma followed it up by saying, "Oh no, he wouldn't be there." So the girls moved on. Brian's body was discovered by police around 11 p.m. A feeble attempt to hide the body using grass and weeds was noted by the police. They also found a pair of broken scissors by his feet. The coroner concluded that Brian had been suffocated, his nose was squeezed shut and his mouth covered. He had numerous puncture wounds, sections of his hair had been cut from his head, and there was a crude attempt to carve a letter M into his stomach. Most disturbingly, the coroner determined that there was a small amount of force used in the attack. This led him to conclude that the murder was committed by a child. On August 1, a manhunt began, and by August 2, 1,200 children had been questioned by police, including Mary and Norma. Police noticed that the girls' stories kept changing while they were being questioned. They freely admitted having played with Brian that day, but denied seeing him after lunchtime. When Mary was questioned for a second time, she stated that she saw Brian with an 8-year-old boy, who was carrying a pair of broken scissors. Mary had unknowingly given herself away. Only the police and the murderer were aware of the detail about the scissors. On August 4, Norma Bell's parents contacted the police. They said that their daughter wished to confess to the murder of Brian Howe. On August 5, the police questioned Mary Bell once again. She became defensive and accused the police of, quote, trying to brainwash her. On August 7, both Mary and Norma were formally charged with the murders, and a trial date was set. During this time, both girls had psychological evaluations. The results revealed that Norma was intellectually delayed and had a more submissive personality. Mary was said to be bright and cunning but was prone to mood swings. She was also said to suffer from a psychopathic personality disorder. The trial began on December 5, 1968. Their right to anonymity due to their age was waived. The media were allowed to report on their identities, including their names, ages, and photographs. The trial lasted 9 days, and on December 17, 1968, the jury returned with their verdict after less than 4 hours of deliberation. Norma Bell was acquitted on all charges. Mary Bell was found guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter. During sentencing, the judge described Mary as being a danger to other children. Mary Bell spent the next 12 years in remand homes and prisons. While in one of these remand homes, Mary was the only female out of 24 residents. She alleged that during this time she was abused by both the staff and other residents. In September 1977, Mary briefly escaped from prison with fellow inmate Annette Priest. The two were recaptured by September 13. The only penalty for Mary absconding was a loss of privileges for 28 days. In May 1980, Mary Bell was released from prison at 23 years old. At the time of her release, she was granted anonymity and given a new name. 4 years later, Mary gave birth to her first and only daughter. In 1998, Mary was tracked down by reporters and her past was revealed to her daughter. In 2003, Mary Bell and her daughter were granted lifelong anonymity by the British High Court. It was later updated in January 2009 to include Mary's granddaughter. Lifelong anonymity orders are unofficially known as Mary Bell orders. Mary Bell's current whereabouts are unknown. Thank you for joining me on my first ever episode of Crafts and Crimes. If you're interested in the things I'm crafting, please check out my Etsy shop. Link is in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment below with what future cases you want me to talk about. Don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on any future uploads. I'll see you all next time.